Hey everyone, welcome to Automation. So you've probably seen the Beamng before, as it is my highest horsepower vehicle other than stream vehicles. We don't talk about those. Today the goal is going to be to dethrone the Beamng 3.0 as the fastest car around the current track for this season. Now I wanted to take a look at its specs just in case those who are watching who do not know this channel or haven't seen it before, but this is a 2900 horsepower V10. It is 12 liters, well actually 12.3 liters, and twin turbo. I mean, it's ridiculously fast. What else can I say? So the goal is to kill the Beamng, but we're going to do it in a humiliating form. We are going to jump up to 2020 to give it the best chance that it has, but we're going to use an SUV body. As usual with this kind of thing, no expenses spared, the lightest materials, the best of the best. It's got to do something good. I hope it will. Okay, engine is where it gets interesting as well. We have not done any twin turbo V8s this season, so I figured let's make a magnesium twin turbo V8, and it's going to be all-wheel drive, so no need to worry about this stuff here. What I'm planning on doing as well is making it exactly 10 liters. So it's dual overhead cam, we're going 5 valves, we don't need VVL, billet steel, lightweight titanium, let's go forged. We might end up switching that to lightweight, we'll see. As usual with this kind of like ridiculous build, the quality ladders are going all the way up. Compression, we'll put it there. Cam profile, all the way up. Put VVT on it, why not? Turbo, twin turbo, this is going to be a lot of power, so let's put this up pretty high. Let's raise this up as well. I'm thinking we'll put this around 80 just to start with. Max boost, max AR ratio, max quality. I think you're getting the theme here. This is probably going to be nearly all the way up. That's going to be, I mean, 90-ish. Let's put this at, let's say 9,000 RPM to start. This is going to be a little bit insane. Exhaust has to be as big as it can be. With these vehicles, it tends to explode if you don't do it. And we currently make 300 horsepower after all that build up. No need to worry, there are some things that we can do to fix this. Currently, it is knocking pretty badly, so as long as we bring down the intercooler, we're up to a cool 2500 horsepower. That's not bad at all. Okay, so I'm going to increase some of these things here. Just by increasing the turbine, we're already up to 700 horsepower. The fuel mixture, let's put that up to full. Okay, there we go. We are currently at 3,359 horsepower. That's not bad. And look at this, we still have more in the RPMs. All the way up to 4,000. Okay, let's go back to 3,400, I mean. Yeah, I think I got a little bit too excited there. We're not going to hit 4,000 with a V8, but 3,400 is not bad. This is a lot of power. This is probably the most powerful car I've made. I think the only one that was even close was the Whale, but that was a stream car, so not as many people have seen it. But yeah, I think we're going to go ahead with that. It's tuned, but it's not tuned amazingly, and still 3,400 horsepower. Keep in mind that the Beamng only has 2,900 horsepower. The thing that we're going to need to be able to beat it in this case is traction. So hopefully we can get that. The body is more of a Porsche Cayenne look. Again, sparing no expense, we have increased the quality of pretty much everything. Now for a color. We could actually just make it Beamng colors. I mean, that seems kind of nasty though. So just as a temporary thing, I'm going to make it this kind of pale gray color. We'll make the trim plastic, the wheels will be black, and the brakes can be red. Well, we'll have to improve it, but that's a good way to start it, I think. Just skipping ahead really quick, let's just go through some of the drivetrain options. I think that this is probably, okay, 472 kilometers an hour. That is a very high max speed. We have not been working with cars this powerful for a while. Just quickly adding in these options just because I want to visualize what we're going to have to deal with here when it comes to wheel spin. But yeah, that is a monster under the hood. Okay, let's put some fixtures on it. So it is a Porsche Cayenne body, but that doesn't mean we have to design it like a Porsche Cayenne. We can do pretty much whatever we want to. So let's just do that. I don't know why, but I've really been liking the look of the modern headlights in this game. Some of them are really bad, like these are basically useless, but others are just like nice. A very sleek look. So the reason that I'm putting these there is just because they kind of fit perfectly. I don't know if I'm actually going to keep that or not, but it gives it an interesting look. It's totally not Porsche Cayenne at all. It's It's very unique. Right, so I've done a few things. I've come up with a name for it. I'm gonna call it the Saint Ultra R with a monster V8 3400 horsepower. I think that's just fitting. So far on the front, I've done a few things. I'm not really keen on this, but for now it's going to have to stay that way. Basically, we have to have a lip because we need to tune downforce, but it unfortunately won't extend around the fender flares, so yeah, we'll just have to leave it like that. This though, I'm not sure. I'm not too sold on that yet, but it's just an idea. As I've said before on stream, I think, basically what happens when I get stuck on something when I'm doing one of these builds is I'll just do a whole bunch of other parts of it. Like, I'll just do the mirrors like I'm doing now, or I mean the door handles. And then by doing that, I'll have sort of a basis of where I want to put everything else. It's kind of like the idea of starting from nothing. Like, a lot of people have trouble with that, me included. But when you do it like this, you don't have to start from nothing because you've already got some things down. It just makes sense. Like, just with a couple of additions, it's actually starting to look like a real car, which is perfect because that gives me inspiration on how to style the rest of it. Alright, so we're definitely going to put one of these on the back. I don't know why, they just turn out very nicely most of the time. It seems like pretty much all my cars have them. But we're also going to do dual exhaust as well. I mean, the car itself has dual exhaust, but we're going to make it quad. And they totally don't fit in the little holes for it, but that's okay. Quad exhaust it is. So skipping ahead to the back, just generally because I'm not sure what to do with the front, I'm going to make it more Porsche lights at the back, I think, just because it just fits them so much better. That is, if any of them are the correct shape. Seems like that might be a no. When in doubt, just grab a headlight, put it in the back, and then change its color. You can probably make something good out of it. I've done it a few times with these cars. So we can get away with this. These will actually be rear lights for this car. It's interesting. I don't know if I'm sold on it again. Having a hard time making decisions today, but hopefully through that we'll come up with something nice. I really like the look of the open face though. What we might be able to do is make this just darker. It's kind of like a, I don't know. It's interesting. One thing that we definitely have to have is some kind of lip or spoiler or something, because, well, it has one built in, which is kind of unfortunate, but we have to have one because we need to be able to tune it. Okay, there we go. Different kind of lock on, and we have created something. Well, let me just say that this might not be my best looking car after all of this is done. These lips are just very hard to work with as of right now. They do not really do what you want them to do. Alright, option 2 is just to put a small spoiler on the back instead. I think that is probably what we're going to have to go with. It's a little bit odd, but it should be decent. Alright, so I've decided on the front end a little bit more. I think I'm going to go with this sort of style. It just seems to work for this. I don't know, it's not turning out exactly as I'd want, but I think it's still going to turn out okay, and that's pretty much all that matters at this point. It's been quite a while. Okay, final front end. Not going to mess with that anymore. I've decided to go for a layered system with the grills and some fog lights as well as the other fog lights. I think that looks good. We're going to stick with that. Now, hood. And we need to have some sort of representation as to what the heck is under there, so we're going to add 4 of those. I mean, we could just swap it for a shaker scoop though. This is an interesting look for this car. Very odd, but actually kind of cool. I don't know. I'm going to leave it there for now. Think about it. Come back to it in a second or two and probably realize it's bad. Okay, so I dropped the shaker scoop, but I've added these and those, and I think that it's going to work out. It doesn't make a ton of sense because the hot air would come from here and just kind of go directly into the intakes, but for this fictional universe, it's fine. Right, so with the front end looking pretty fancy, it seems like the back of it is a little plain. We just need to add a little bit more here, and we should be done with style. Always important, we need to add some lettering. We need to show off the brand name, and, well, all the other cool features. Quirks and features, I should say. So it's got a lot of things on the back. I think I'm going to get rid of the turbo, but it says Saint Ultra R, and it's a different kind of R, because I was hoping they could be recolored, but unfortunately they can't. Like, this is the prime stuff to be recolored, and it unfortunately can't be yet, but let's put that little turbo badge on the side. There we go, just a little extra Porsche touch on there. Now we just need a little bit more on the back and we should be good to go when it comes to tuning. I just feel like it needs a little something more right underneath these lights. Like it just needs a little extra flair of some kind, but I'm not sure what yet. Alright, I think that's it. I think we've got it. Just a little touch there. That's all we needed to have this come out reasonably well. At least I think so. This is what it's going to look like styling wise. It's not too fancy, but keep in mind we haven't even stanced it yet. We might come back to this in a bit to change it, but let's continue forward for now. Alright, so we have all of the drivetrain already set up. We need to do the wheels though, so as with most things, we're going as wide as possible for now, at least on the front and the back. Let's go big, like reasonably big wheels. We're going to want some big rims on it too. We'll make them carbon fiber so they're light. Those are huge wheels, but this is going to be a fast car. Now, wheel spin is definitely going to be an issue. We'll probably have to fix that at some point. And by fix, I mean wrestle with it, because my goodness, you don't get something with 3,400 horsepower every day. And I'm going to increase these wing angles all the way for now. I'm going to put the brake airflow up considerably. We will not have problems with brakes. And I think that's good for that. Yeah, so power steering, we'll just go electric. Traction aids, we'll be fine with that. No safety, bring that all the way down. Active sport, semi-active, race preset. Okay, so things have happened. Hopefully they're good things. Alright, downforce at top speed is too high, and the car has severe issues with wheel spin. Let's quickly just look over the graphs before we look at it. So we're at 89% drivability, that's not great. 92% sportiness, again, not great, we can do better than that. Then line is fine, it's not within the 2, but it's not as far out as it could be. Braking is not good, we need to raise up those brakes quite a bit. Yeah, like this is a huge brake line here, and this should be above it. Same thing with the front. I mean, we're in the positives, but once we get up to that max, like speed, we're not going to be able to stop, so we'll have to increase that up, I think, a little bit more. Downforce, at least we have some, and 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. Nice. So taking a look at it stanced, yeah, no, that is nice. This is as low as it goes. I picked double wishbone for a reason, and that is because I know that it can go extra low, and that's exactly what we want right here. This is coming out a little bit better than I had anticipated at the beginning. Thankfully, because my goodness, the back end is a little bit awkward. We might change these headlights or these rear lights before the day is done. Might go for something like this, we'll see. Okay, so to start things off, let's adjust the brakes. Currently I made them just max size. But what we can do is increase the pad type, and that should help with this a little bit. I'm not as concerned about the back as I am about the front. Basically, I want to get this up higher. Aerodynamics, we don't need as much on the front as it seems, so we'll lower that down. Hopefully that fixes the downforce issue. We want to have like solid downforce, but we still want to be able to drive reasonably quick as well. I'm going to keep the front angle all the way up. I'll take the back down a little bit. We'll see how big of a deal that makes it. Currently wheel spin is 99%. Top speed has increased, so we need to increase our gear size. Basically, if we increase this to like 700 or whatever, we will lower our wheel spin quite a bit just because the gearing gets significantly taller. But it just makes more sense to have it just above for now. I've got the power distribution turned so that it's slightly more to the back. The weight distribution is tuned towards the front, so if we change that, wheel spin gets worse. Oh goodness. Alright, I'm dropping it down to a 5 speed. There we go, a little bit better. This graph is absolutely all over the place. This is not exactly exemplary tuning. Please keep that in mind. Right, so I'm going to lower down the front tires a little bit when it comes to size, and that should help us with some of our traction issues. Theoretically, this is getting a little bit more in line of where it should be. Drivability is going up, sportiness is going down, but we can fix that with a bit of tuning. But we're getting there slowly. One of the things that I should say is like this thing can go 500 kilometers an hour. I'm okay with having full downforce just because I know, yeah, let's just put it up all the way, just because like we're not going to reach 500 kilometers an hour. We just lost maybe 10 of it right there, but it's fine. For the sake of downforce, I'm willing to compromise. Okay, so in the name of sportiness, we are going to increase the stiffness of the sway bars a little bit, And let's check the warnings. So power distribution, dampers are hard, brake force is high, downforce to top speed is too high. Somebody told me that doesn't affect it in beam, so we're going to have to test that. And wheel spin. But other than that, it's not terrible. It looks okay. The back end is interesting, but we'll work on that. 3,399.7 horsepower, 10-liter V8. Ooh, it's good. I'm excited to try this one out. Alright, so I did change up the back just a touch. I basically changed the lights for something a little bit different. It's definitely a different look, but I do like it more, so I'm going to go with this. And I also changed the spacing just a little bit. I lowered it down. So hopefully things work out. Let's give this one a try in beam. 3,400 horsepower. Has got to be fast. Right, so I should apologize for the noise that you might be hearing in the background. I don't have control of that. That is the people upstairs. I'm sorry. But here is what the Saint looks like as it has exported into beam. I had to mess with the backlights a little bit. They're unfortunately a little bit different because the one that I was trying to use was not exporting correctly, but everything else came out okay. Now, I just wanted to say that I was inspired by a vehicle that I made on stream, in the last stream actually, this one right here. And this is what caused me to think, like, we can make some sweet racing SUVs, but this one actually turned out to be a little bit nicer looking. It was sort of my demo for this vehicle, the Spartan Vortex. You can check it out in the drive folder, which is linked below, but it has a V8 and is pretty reasonably quick. Oh yeah, not much to complain about with this one. So back to the main attraction for today. Let's hear what this V8 sounds like. Oh yeah, it's high strung. Here we go. So you may have noticed down in the corner that it's saying that our piston rings are damaged. And that is because we have left it with, like, damageable thresholds in automation. It was 74% chance of that happening. Even though we're going 430 kilometers an hour and we are absolutely flying, our piston rings were causing issues with power there. So it's actually mattering now. Back a while ago, you could make a car with all those issues and it wouldn't matter. Nowadays it does. Very interesting. But yes, as you would suspect, with that much horsepower, 3,400, this thing is wickedly fast. And the spacing does not bring it down at all. I think we probably could have lowered it even more, to be honest. The only issue that it has is that piston ring issue, but it's only when you stay at high RPMs for a while, so you have to be pretty careful with it. The thing is that this vehicle is extremely fast, and there's really only one thing that we can do with it. So let's drag race it against the old Bomero's time. So the old Bomero managed to get a 7-second or 7.89 second run. This is the Bomero 2.0. We still have yet to race the 3.0 on this track, but let's first take the Saint on it. We'll try and beat the Bomero 2.0's time, and then we'll take the Bomero 3.0 and see if we can beat the Saint's time. This is going to be a very close-knit run here. Alright, here it is in-game. Let's see what we can do with this. We're going to have full traction on the drag strip. 3, 2, 1, and just full throttle, nothing else. Well, we've actually managed to have power down on the ground. 9 seconds, okay, so maybe the spacing does affect things. Because, goodness, that's only a 4th place. That is underneath the Bomero 2.0. If it can't beat the 2.0, it's not going to beat the 3.0. The 3.0 is better. 2, 1, different technique this time. I've tried to boost a little bit less. Maybe this might be slower. Oh goodness, it actually is. We're not going to make it for that 7.8. No way. Yeah, so that was even slower. That was slower by not much. Let's try it one more time. 3, 2, 1, go. Well, it seems like the lower spacing is definitely hurting it in acceleration. It does have a dual clutch, but I'm not going to bother shifting it. 9.412 or 7. That is a 5th place, so that is just a little bit slower than our first lap. Even though it has the power, it is not keeping up with the Bomero. Just for interest's sake, let's take the Bomero 3.0 out on this track, just to see what it'll do. Remember, it has a 2,900 horsepower V10. It seems like there might be a sweet spot for power on these cars. Oh goodness, yeah, the Vomero takes off. It just launches. It is violent though, my goodness. Okay, so Vomero 3.0 gets an 8.5. It is indeed slower than the Vomero 1.0. I mean 2.0. Interesting. Just for reference sake, the Vomero 2.0 has a V12, so maybe that extra torque is helping. Maybe it's just more cylinders required. Okay, so that's an 8.595. Not bad. Let's try it again. This time I'll adjust the launch a touch. 3, 2, 1, and hit it right at the start rather than building up the boost so we don't hit that turbo lag early. And here we go. This might be about the same time. 8.5 once again. Goodness. Well, it's consistent, but that was a pretty decent run. Again, not fast enough to beat the Vomero 2.0. That thing seems to be the fastest car I can make at this point. The only thing I've learned today is that it's hard to beat a V12. Like, this car only has 2600 horsepower. The Saint has almost 1000 horsepower more. It's got 800 more horsepower out of a V8, but it's not enough to beat it in the drag strip. In a top speed run, I think that the Saint would definitely win. Over the long term, on a very long straight, the V8 would probably win, but this classic 2.0 Vomero is quick. Right, so here's where things get challenging. Let's take the Saint Ultra R around our track for this season. By the way, this is the second last car that I'm going to be making. I believe that we have one more after this. Quite a range of vehicles though. We've got the Yugo copy thing down here called the Bugo. It's currently in last place by a significant amount. And up top is the Vomero 3.0. 2900 horsepower V10. It's going to be hard to beat, but let's see if we can do it with the Saint Ultra R. Alright, will it hold its piston rings together over the course of this event? I do not know, but let's try it. And there we go, off we go. Gotta be careful with this one. I mean, the wheel spin isn't as bad as it's led on to be, but it is actually good at handling, surprisingly. I say that as we get a major understeer moment. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to warm up with a few laps on this one, I think, first. Okay, so some good things about it. The brakes can hold out quite strong against pretty much anything. Unfortunately, they are not as strong as I would like. They really should be able to stop it quicker than they can. Thankfully, they don't heat up very much. We do have good brake airflow. We've got really large brakes, almost max size actually. But we can hold on pretty well in some of these corners. Unfortunately, this track is not going to let us bring out that 3400 horsepower though. I still fear what a car would be like with a 4400 horsepower V16, which is actually possible in automation. Right, so flying down the straight, gotta really come on to the brakes though. Oh boy, come on. Just a light tap there. Oh, okay, it seems the wheel is tweaked, but that was a pretty decent run so far. So when is automation getting adamantium components so we can have unlimited horsepower engines? Just wondering. Goodness, on that last run I came in there a little bit too fast and lost a wheel. I mean, we could probably still continue, but let's go for that top spot. Alright, made it around there safely. The engine is putting out some smoke, which means the piston rings probably went at some point. But that's fine, we'll continue around this course as fast as we can. Oh boy, almost finished with it. We just have to come around this last corner and then just hit it all the way home here. All the way up into those RPMs and across the line at 125. What does that put us? In second place. Goodness, I don't think there are 3 extra seconds in that car. I mean, with a perfect run probably, but I'm sure that the Vomero 3.0 could be even quicker than it currently is on the leaderboard. Now the interesting thing about this whole series is, I've let you download all of these cars in the Google Docs, so all you've got to do is export them yourself, give them a try, and see if you can beat my times. Let me know what you think. And by think I mean let me know what kind of times you get, because it'd be cool to see. So that's it for this video, hopefully you enjoyed. The car isn't particularly good looking, but it is a reasonable performer. Please let me know what you think we should do for the final car before the Autoflux Games Season 2 starts. I know Consider is just starting his games this week, earlier this week I think, based on the time that I upload this versus recording it. But yeah, we'll be starting in a few weeks as well, so it's going to be a double games, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be great. So thank you for watching all the way through. I will see you in the next one.